Hi everyone, this is Jeanette with Janda Panda Treasures. I just wanted to do a short video about acid testing. I honestly don't know I know a bit about acid testing jewelry, and I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. It is acid and it can ruin things. So I just wanted to do like a little PK product knowledge, I guess that's what it's about. And some, information about, what I know about testing, which really isn't much. I do the testing just as a tool, especially with these unboxings, these mystery boxes. It's just a tool, and if I do it, it's very minimal, and I do it just so that I can investigate further. So when I do my bulk testing, I do a little bit more in-depth, and I do have 3 windows behind me that I ventilate. And I also wear these nitrile gloves. And because, it does get on your skin, and those are acid burns. I had a burn here. I can see, maybe you can't see it, but on my hands, there's a little bit of acid just from doing these demonstrations with the jewelry. But when I test jewelry in bulk, and again, this is just a tool. I would really have to verify, certain things with jewelers, because I honestly, I don't know a lot. There are so many facets, pardon the pun, to jewelry testing and jewelry identification and all that. And I'm still in this learning process. And just like the Presidium Gem Tester, it tells you what to look for. And I have some rock books or stones, just to help me identify further. So if you go into the jadeite, for instance, you look up in a book and try and identify the color and see if you can figure out, where the gem came from, the colors of the gems, because you can have jadeite, but it's many colors of jadeite. So, just because it says jade or jadeite or topaz or, any of these other ones, you still have to look it up and research it further, especially if you feel like it's an expensive piece of jewelry. So I'm turning my Presidium on just to warm her up. But again, it's a tool so that you can look further into the item. Now, as far as acid testing goes, this was my jewelry holder that used to be a food holder. My brother was testing jewelry. I don't know if you could see it. And I have this oilcloth tablecloth here, and it really protects the table. So I don't have to worry about, the acid wrecking my table. But this was laid on top of a drop of acid, and it totally wrecked it. So that just ate it away. So when you're testing for acid, be sure to, just test the metal parts and not the, anything that could be destroyed in, your jewelry. Some of this stuff is pretty fragile, and you can totally wreck a piece of, decent, maybe it could be costume jewelry, but it could be an expensive piece of costume jewelry, and you could totally annihilate it. I also, when I'm testing, I wear a full-on apron, because I did at one time get a drop of acid on my jeans, and that acid ate it away and put a hole in my jeans. So pardon me while I get dressed for for what I'm going to show you. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you know, again, this is just a tool. This is just to help me go into a direction of where I want to go as far as the jewelry is concerned. Anyway, so here are my testing solutions and my stones. I do test for silver, not so much sterling, but I test for silver on the white, and I use the silver testing solution. But again, it's a tool. So if I'm in a hurry and I'm doing these unboxings or unbaggings, and I see that it has a potential to be something, I will test it further later. What I'm doing here with you guys is I am just giving you an idea of my process. That's all it is. You need to have ventilation if you're doing bulk testing. You need to have protective gloves if you're doing bulk testing. And you need to have an apron. Ventilation, open up the windows. And because this stuff will burn your eyes and nose and stuff if you're not, aware. I mean, there is smoking that happens that you may not be able to see. So, just be aware that these products are acid, muriatic acid. And this is, muriatic acid, I think you can even use it in pools to clean calcium off of things. But, when you're dealing with chemicals, you just have to be careful. And, don't let children use the acids. It's just, their skin is a lot softer than ours. And, the dangers mostly are if you get it in your sinuses and in your eyes. You can get it on your hands, and, that does burn your skin. That's why it, eventually it will peel off. But sometimes, if I'm working with the acids, and I don't even know if it's, all in my head, but I could be working with acids with my gloves on, and then I feel a tingling on my fingers. I'm going, did I poke a hole in these? So, it's probably in my head, because I'm working with acid. But one, and another time, I was working with the acids and I wasn't wearing gloves, and I washed my hands thoroughly, and I wear contact lenses. When I took my contact lenses off, it burned my eyes, and I did wash my hands really. I scrubbed them, so that stuff lingers. So I am a proponent of wearing gloves, especially if you're doing bulk testing. When I do, like I said before, when I do the unboxings and I do these really quick tests, it's just for me to use it as a tool to move in a different direction. Anyway, so I am all dressed up. I am ventilated, and I have my nitrile gloves on. It is important to use the right gloves. You don't want the acid to eat through. But again, this is what I do when I do bulk testing, or if I'm going to be testing for, a certain period of time. So anyway, so I use a black stone to test for gold and to test for sterling silver. I did watch a video yesterday that when you test for most anything, you don't do like this kind of a scratch, like a light scratch. You want to do intense scratch like that. You want to make it condensed. And you want to get at least a few layers in, because there could be, just a base metal in there that is not, sterling. So, and I use 18 karat gold testing to test for sterling on a stone, a black stone. It does make it a nice bright blue. So again, it's just another thing I can do with, jewelry that helps me get to the next step. It's, it's not a be-all, end-all here. I mean, this little ring is, I feel it's mostly, it's not even marked sterling. And this very well might not be sterling. So if I can get deep enough into the scratch or into the piece, I can do a proper test just to help me get, again, to the next step. So let's put a little bit of acid on. You only need like a little drop, but make it a good drop. In the video I was watching, his name is Logan, and he said this is about what you want to see. Now see, I can already smell the acid, and I am ventilated, so I won't be doing this for very long with you folks. But you just want to be sure that what you're testing, this kind of a scratch here that's next to it, that's not very helpful. And sometimes I catch myself doing that, and that's not the correct way. You want to make sure you have a very condensed and good scratch. You also have to be aware, especially if you're dealing with fragile antique jewelry, that you don't scratch it so hard that you ruin the piece. And you might need to say, okay, maybe I won't test this and, do further research on the piece. To use Google, I do it. I use Google Lens. Even eBay has, you can identify with eBay. But you just have to get all, everything in a row, your ducks in a row, as they say, as far as, just using these as a tool, because I am not an expert. I don't, there's always going to be, more to learn about this, but I just, didn't want you guys to think that maybe, I could just go out and get some acid and test my jewelry and, and then, you burn your eyes and you burn your hands, or, you get sick, and it's just not I just felt like I needed to say something. Okay, this one to me is saying that this piece is sterling. Now that was just one of the charms I tested, but this piece is so fragile. I'm hesitant to do too much with it because I could ruin it. But maybe not all the pieces and parts on that bracelet is sterling. I don't even know if it's a sellable piece. Again, further research needs. And, if it's marked also, I will test it. But again, a deep, deep scratch. This one's really giving me a hard time. So this one I am suspicious that it may be gold. So I would start out with my 10 karat gold. And then if it disappears, it's probably not. It's starting to disappear, so this may have a plating to it. If I had the other earring, I probably would go further with it, but I only have the one earring because I was testing for scrap. And so I will probably put this into a craft lot because to me, it's just a plate. It's a very pretty piece. There are no markings on it, and it dissolved at 10K, so it could be a plated piece. This one had me suspicious here. This one, I wanted to look at further. This one had a safety on it, so I wanted to double check. I can't read that side. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to shine that in your eye. Yeah, it wasn't magnetic. That's just another tool to tell me that you need to bring this to the stone to give it a good scratch. Now let me do a really good scratch on it. Nice condensed scratch. And then you may want to do it in the same spot on a different, so that you know you're getting down to some subsequent layers of material. So this is my first scratch. This is my second scratch. And I'm going to do 10K. So my first scratch, those are my little bubble. Those are not very helpful when testing. It is staying for a while. So you can see that first scratch, which is the surface of the bracelet. So that part is sticking. And then my second scratch in the same spot is starting to dissolve. No, it is still sticking. It's deceiving because of this ring light up here. So then I'm going to take another scratch. We'll leave those there. I'll do another scratch, same spot. Actually, I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to do the 10K again and then bring out the 14K. So I'll do 10K on that, on the first one. Before I do that, I'm going to wipe this off. They are actually disappearing. They're almost all gone just with the 10K. So I'm assuming that it's going to dissolve with the 14K. So I'm suspicious that this particular piece is probably a plated piece. So we'll do 14K. Gone. But this is what I do when I do my bulk testing. And I've learned a few things from watching a video on YouTube about proper testing. And so I have my gloves on and I don't have to worry about, getting into the solution. And then I just, take all my stuff, wrap it in my gloves, turn it inside out and throw it away. But, I try to be super careful with these. These are chemicals. These are not, not to be taken lightly. So I just wanted to share this information with you and so that I can let you guys know that I'm listening, paying attention. Okay, so this one tested into, it almost hits the jadeite. Again, it's going up there, it's hitting jadeite. So this just gives, the Presidium just gives me another tool to, okay, so now I'm going to look into this necklace and find out, maybe I need to know the quality of the jade. I mean, it looks gorgeous. It's a nice heavy piece, and are all of these little, I might do like 3 or 4 of those beads just to do a random check to make sure they're not glass. The clasp is not 925, but these are jade. I'm pretty confident saying that, but I don't know what quality of jade it is. And I need to do a weight to find out, you know, what is the weight value of this. So I still have a lot to learn. Testing for turquoise. There are ways to test for turquoise. A lot of it is, you know, it's using chemicals, but you know, let's use our senses first. Now, this particular piece, I believe, says 925 on there. So I would test that to make sure it's 925. You can't test for, or maybe you can. You can't really test for turquoise on this. But you also want to look inside the holes. I did learn this from Kristen D on one of her videos, is that you look in the holes there and you want to make sure you don't see any white. And I don't. And these beads are not consistent. So, I mean, you know, I could heat up a pen, and if it melted, that means it's resin. What this tells me is it's probably not halite, which is also a pretty stone on its own, dyed halite. So I don't see any white in there on any of those pieces. I'll put a gem tester on it because, heck, I don't know. What does turquoise read as? I mean, it goes up there, so, but that's just telling me it could be jade, which I'm guessing it's not. So what I will do is, if this tests positive for sterling, it says CL on the back, I would almost assume that this is turquoise. But again, you know, being new at this, I can't tell by sight. These look really good. To me, they don't look like they're dyed. This is just a gorgeous turquoise piece that I wouldn't want to, I mean, I could get some acetone and grab one of these beads to see if the dye comes off. But I'm thinking this is really turquoise. This is the true deal. I'm hesitant to do further testing. I would if I was to sell it. I love the way that they put this piece together. It's an artisan looking piece, and these beads are just gorgeous. They're shined, they're polished. And I don't know that there's anything else in here that I can test. Oh, here's a bracelet that kind of matches that, well, it does match. This happens to be hand tied. This is a stretchy. And when I see stretchies like this, oftentimes you just assume that it's, you know, just inexpensive beaded jewelry, you know, crafted together. But, I mean, they do match to me, but I would think that, well, personally, I would think that it would be maybe linked together. So, yeah, this is going up to the jadeite. If I hold it on there long enough, it'll get there. I know this calibration thing is really important, but again, this is just a tool. This helps you go to another resource so that you can actually identify. I do need clarity. I mean, these look like beautiful jadeite beads. They look, but I don't know what grade or value these are. You know, I mean, you could get an emerald, but it could be a very low quality emerald. So, and may not be worth as much as maybe, you know, a real clear emerald cut piece. So there's all kinds of things that, you know, you see jewelry and it raises questions, and then you test it and it raises more questions. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to know that when I do my boat testing, that I don't just dive in there with my hands and, get them all covered in acid. It does happen on my hands, and it's not terribly dangerous. It's kind of like when you get a sunburn and then you peel, that's kind of the effect. But I'm sure if you left acid on your hand for a certain period of time that, you could cause some damage. And I just want, you guys to know that I am careful. I do ventilate. I wear my bib apron because I don't want to wreck my clothes. And I just want you guys to know that, there is caution to this. I just want us all to be safe out there. I mean, I didn't realize how dangerous jewelry could be. Anyway, on that note, if you have any questions, you can always call me or contact me at jandapanda@comcast.net. And you can also, email me with questions, or I can link you to some really good YouTube videos about acid testing. But there's plenty out there for you to research. Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening. And I'm posting this before I recorded yesterday, but I wanted to post this because, I do the acid testing on the fly, and, there's more to it than just that. Thank you.